drove back to Pittsburgh and bought a djembe and got a videotape of the Royal Ballet of New Guinea and watched it in like slow-mo, taught myself how to play djembe, and then drove back and just went and accompanied their classes. And it just was a natural fit.
Being an accompanist in a similar way as being in a band.
It becomes a dialogue and symbiotic relationship with someone or people in the class.
However, the dancers are relating to what I'm doing orally by what they hear.
You kind of get that vibe and that feedback from the teacher in the class.
You sort of feel it when everybody's on the same page and really present in that moment and just completely committed to doing that thing at that time with no other things clouding that experience. You know, as I was learning to play the drums, I was paying attention to how drummers I respected were working and making a living in New York City.
Ideally, it's a very fertile space for collective creativity.
As a group, we can create something much greater than the single parts. But when everything is really together and everyone's present in that moment, you can really reach these places you couldn't get to by yourself. Yeah, the best way to stay present is to listen. And I think the teachers I get to play for, I really respect and appreciate their point of view on the creative process. Part of the support system is not just the correct tempo, but the correct feel, the overall quality of what you're trying to do to give dancers something to work with.
Changing your setup forces you to make new decisions about what you're going to play, even if the class structure and the exercises are very similar from year to year.
Something that was challenging when I first started playing dance classes is just understanding how dancers talk about music. So musicians have a specific way of talking about music, and dancers have a way of talking about music. And they are different, although we're talking about the same things.
I mean, I adore anything complicated. The more complicated, the merrier.
My setup varies. I generally try to have a range of sounds that cover the low end of the spectrum, mid-range, and the treble, the higher end. I sort of consider myself a bastard percussionist because I'm really a drum set player.
Bare minimum setup is a djembe, tambourine, cowbell, and some shakers.
I've been using this synthesizer with drum sounds. I think for me, it has really changed the way I think about how I play.
I think one of the most interesting things to me about being a dance musician is the relationship between motion and sound.
I love being a dance accompanist. I feel it's a unique job that allows me to practice my craft all day long, that forces me to think of new ways to express myself and new ways to support other artists. I feel like that's a really unique position that an accompanist fills. It's a specific niche, both in your own development and in the development of another artist. It's because when I'm not doing that, like I can tangibly feel the lack of that specific inspiration and that muscle being flexed. And you get complacent just doing one thing. So I'm always looking for new ways to inspire myself, and being an accompanist offers that.